Z93 radio personality Vaughn Postema began her radio career here while a student at the College of Charleston. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with Vaughn one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Vaughn Postema, thank you so much for joining me.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Obviously, you're a household name around here. According to your Instagram page, you're a social media marketing coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're a radio personality here at Z93, a podcaster, event planner, and you're out in the community working hard.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What is it like to be you these days?
Oh man, that's a great question. Busy, but happy. So being me right now is busy but happy. My time is filled, my schedule is tight, but I can genuinely say that I'm enjoying everything I'm doing, which is a first in my life to really say that everything I'm doing, I'm enjoying.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I'm happy about that.
That is so good to hear. You talk about happy. I gotta talk about some great news here.
Okay.
Obviously, Chris Kalen Bennett.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
She's, I guess, the newest radio personality at Z93 Jam.
She is. I'm very excited. She actually completed her first day today.
I was listening a little bit of it before I headed to work
Awesome.
earlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
right on the app, iHeartRadio app.
That's perfect. Yeah. I'm very happy that she's there. It's very exciting to have some, your teammates. It's always good to see new teammates come on. It's kind of like the freshmen on the yard, and it's really exciting just to see that hypeness, that energy, that excitement, and it reminds you of your first day, and you're like, wow, this is why I did this. This is why I like this. So yeah, she did a great job today.
And a lot of people don't know, she worked at the SC State University's radio station as well.
Yes, she did. Yeah, and that's what I like too, is that she started college radio, I started college radio, and it's just all these kinds of things where there are a lot of students that start off with college radio and they're kind of discouraged, especially if they don't see a lot of representation or see that people actually make it to these commercial radio stations or even non-commercial. They don't really see it sometimes, and so I'm really happy that this is happening.
Yes, indeed. You talk about your college radio station. Let me take you back here home to the College of Charleston.
Oh wow.
What was it like for you to be a student here?
Man, it was in the beginning it was kind of nerve-wracking just because I've always been busy. I've never not been busy. There's never been a time in my entire life. So when I first came to the College of Charleston, I went through the Spectra program with the Multicultural Center, and that was awesome. I loved it. And I was able to really forge a lot of friendships that I even have now still. And I'm excited about that. But then that first day of school is something very different, especially here at the College of Charleston, where you are a minority and you feel it. And especially if you're coming from a school where you are not a minority, it's definitely a different environment. But I'm blessed to have the upbringing that I have that really kind of prepared me for that. But even still, it was still very kind of shocking. And I remember being on the phone with my mom and saying, no one knows me here. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I don't, having all these emotions of just feeling like the new kid on the block. And then my mom was like, okay. She was like, you're at college. She was like, you're at the College of Charleston. Act like you want a College of Charleston education. So after that, I did. And so life here was very interesting. I grew a lot from a lot of different things, involved in a lot of different things. Greek, it was the radio station, or the radio station in my senior year. Just involved in a ton of things. I was homecoming queen. I was all these kinds of able to accomplish a lot of things in such a short time frame. 4 years goes by like nothing.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
You talk about your upbringing, that is. Obviously, you grew up in a military family.
I did.
Which brought you really close to here, which is Columbia, South Carolina. What was that like?
Oh man, we moved around a few times, and I think it really showed me how the value of friendship, and what friendship really means, even at a very young age. Because I actually kind of got it maybe a little bit better than my sister in retrospect, because I moved around, but not as much as she did. But it just kind of taught me what friendship means and how friendship can overcome state lines and distance and things like that, because as a young kid, especially military kids, you're used to moving every 4 years or every 3 years or so. And sometimes the friends that you make, even at a young age, you kind of go in knowing that I might not see you forever. And so it kind of, you transcend the normal mode of thinking. And so that kind of interpersonal relationship filters out into the rest of my interpersonal relationships now. So yeah, it was very interesting. You know, my dad was deployed for a full year at one point. Both my parents are actually in the military. My mom retired when she became pregnant with me. And I want to say 1 year out of middle school or so, my dad was in Korea. But that was also the beginning of like webcams. So I would see my dad on the webcam. He would be in Korea. I remember one time I got like a bad grade or something, and my mom was like, "Get in front of that computer," and my dad was talking to me the webcam. But so it was different. But I don't know. It was, my mom made it really easy to understand what was happening.
And you talk about transcending. Let me take you to 2014.
Ooh.
Right after you graduated from College of Charleston, I read that Transcend and Transform was a program you transferred to an independent station in Charleston.
Yeah.
KLIX, that is.
Mm-hmm.
How did you transform and transcend things back then?
Oh man. When I started Transcend and Transform, it was here at the College of Charleston, and that was when Glenn McConnell was being interviewed, he was in the interviewing process. Right. There were a lot of different candidates. There's just a lot of heavy talk about race relations. And I was taking a race relations class at the time with Dr. Anthony Green. And I ended up having that Monday night show, and I said, they wanted me to talk about Greek life. But by that time, I was very tired of talking about Greek life. And I wanted to go a little deeper. And I talked about race relations. And my hot topic was, you know, what's going on with the presidency and the interview process and just getting that conversation. And I would say how I was transcending and transforming at that time was that I was in a capstone where, in my senior year, where the only part of the curriculum was to pursue your dreams. That was the curriculum, was what's your dream, pursue it. And you were graded on the fact of, are you actively pursuing your dreams? And my active dream was pursuing a radio career. And so I said, I gotta do something that's gonna hit close to home to people. So I started talking about race relations, and that was also part of my capstone. Well, people started coming up to me on campus, and they were like, "Thank you so much for what you talked about last night, because I have questions about those kinds of things. I don't know how to," and it was kind of like the first on the airwaves discussion that people were having on a weekly basis about what is it like to be a minority? What's it like to be black? What's it like to be Hispanic? What's it like to be all these things when you're the only person in the entire class? How do I respond to my professor when I feel like things are out of line? How do I view the situation about who's going to be the next president when we have other things that kind of come up to surface and bubble up, and it's conflicting with your morals? So we talked about those kinds of things, and it just had a lot of students talking to me about it. And I think that I was able to transcend my original form of thinking, because I realized it's not just about me, man. There's a lot of people out there, and that's when I realized the importance of radio is that you never know who's listening, and when you don't know who's listening, you have no idea who you're affecting. So I transformed my way of thinking, because it said my words matter. Everyone's words matter, but words have power. So what you say is effective, and that's how I transcended and transformed during that time. And that's kind of the basis of the show.
And I know obviously now you are a radio personality, and I'm sure you have some sort of opportunity to talk about these on the radio.
Yeah, it all depends on what exactly the format is. I'm learning a lot about commercial radio. I'm learning about how commercial radio is a little different. It all depends on who the personality is and what kind of show they have. I really like to save a lot of my talking for my podcast or on other people's podcasts when I'm a guest. Because then I have more freedom to talk, and more independent freedom to say what I want to say. But when there is a pressing issue, which I haven't come upon yet. I started, this is like my 5th week, and I'm kind of in a position where my show is located, there's already an afternoon show that already talks about all the topics. So then I'm kind of like where what is the flow of my show and what does that mean? So maybe in the future, yes, which I don't shy away from that. So I'm not afraid of those kind of opportunities, but definitely on independent projects and things like that. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I let it rip.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I know, let me go back to the commercial radio station. It was in 2016 when you applied for a job at Cumulus.
Absolutely.
As a production assistant.
Absolutely, yeah.
What got you from independent to commercial?
Oh, man. I think what happened at that particular time, if I'm remembering correctly, which I know, now that I think about it, it was just a time that it was time for me to transition from the work that I had been doing at the independent radio station to really launching off and partnering up with some people at that time to launch my own independent project or to help launch another independent project. And when I did that, I was working at the Fudgery at the time. As you know. I was working at the Fudgery at the time, and I remember on one of my very long shifts at the Fudgery, I remember saying, man, I think it's time to move out on my own and do my own thing, or partner up with my team and say, hey, let's get a studio of our own and let's do this thing. So I transitioned from independent on that kind of realm of a radio station into more so podcasting and media company. And while I was working at the Fudgery, I said, it's time for me to expand my knowledge. I feel like I've done everything I could on my own. Now it's time to learn some fundamentals, and I'm only going to find that in the industry. And that's when I applied and said, I'm going to learn more. Yeah.
And obviously it didn't take that long, but you became a radio personality.
Yeah, which I was kind of shocked because I did not, when I started, I did not expect to be on the radio. I started as a production assistant. Right. I actually applied to be a promotions assistant.
Oh, yeah.
And because of everything I did, the promotions director said, wow, I think you're actually a better fit for this, and slid me over to production assistant. And that was perfect because I was able to work with a awesome production director, Reggie Crawford, who taught me a lot of the ropes when it came to audio production.
Oh, yeah.
And that's genuinely what I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn the ropes, but I wanted to learn the industry standard even more so for audio production because I was podcasting and I was beginning a podcasting business with my partners, and I said, man, I gotta learn a little bit more about this audio thing. And then a year into, I was working at the radio station for a year before I got on the air. But a lot of people, I stayed quiet a lot about it because I just wanted to be focused on what it was, the task at hand. So yeah.
Where were you emotionally when you got the job on air?
That's a great question. On air, okay, so that's good. I thought you were going to say when I got the job at Cumulus, which is also a good question. I don't mind answering either.
Sure, okay.
But on air, where was I at emotionally? Wow, so I think it was just kind of very surreal. It was surreal because, like I said, that wasn't my original objective. And it just felt like, it really felt like a kind of turnaround or like a full circle back to this passion that I had found out when I was in my senior year of college. So by the time I was on air, it was very special to me because I was able to take over a show called Chucktown Hit Factory. Oh, yeah. And I'm very passionate. I am still very passionate about hip hop, especially in downtown Charleston, where it used to thrive, but now it just seems to be scarce. And I see that as like an underdog type of thing, and I root for the underdog. And also, it's a part of culture. It's a part of fun and festivities, which is very important to the psyche build of a community. So for me, I was emotionally, I was stunned, but excited and very nervous, and just kind of in a unbelievable state. Like I couldn't believe it was happening. Yeah.
How would you write your headline next for your future?
That's a great question. That is good. Ooh, there's so many that have come to mind. Let's see. What would my headline be? My headline would be VP makes the impossible possible.
That's right. You can't do that.
That would be it. VP makes the impossible possible.
If anybody can do it, you.
Yeah, I believe in myself.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe in it.
We do too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah.
Well, Vaughn Postema, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, this is very, very exciting. I don't get interviewed a lot.
This is exclusive, right?
I mean, it feels like I don't get. I mean, people are always.
Yes.
I'm always interviewing people.
Sure.
Or I think that sometimes people. I think they get the impression that because I'm so busy that, and I don't use that as like an excuse to be like, oh, I can't do that. I literally have filled up my day with so many things to do. But I'm at a point now where I've reached some goals that I'm ready to tell my story, my version of things, and I'm very proud of myself.
Yes.
And so yeah, I'm excited. So I really thank you for doing this. It's really an honor to be on Quintin's Close Up.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.